Hi guys, and welcome to Chef Rants. Today my rant is about arranged marriages. Since I've had an arranged marriage, a lot of people have asked me about my experience and I want to share it with you. So please remember that my arranged marriage experience is obviously from an Australian Muslim Bengali background, and it might differ to other people's experiences. And please also remember that an arranged marriage is not a forced marriage. It's where both parties are consenting to being arranged or being set up, I guess. So what is an arranged marriage exactly, and how does it work? Well, in my Australian Bengali Muslim context, how it worked is that my parents got proposals or biodatas, which is what we call them in Bangla, which is basically like a 1 or 2 page summary of the guy and his background, his physical appearance, but also his family background. So what his parents do, what his siblings do, and what his mostly paternal uncles and aunties, but sometimes also maternal. So, a bit of shake up in the patriarchy there. But yeah, that's basically what it is. And it gets sent around via aunties. So if you think of the auntie grapevine as kind of like your own personal RSVP or Tinder, you don't have to do any of the hard work or even any of the swiping. The aunties take a look at you and deem that you're ready for marriage or that you're suitable for marriage. And then they start talking to each other, and through their grapevine, they basically match you up based on what they think that you might like or you are like, and you get biodata sent to your house, or basically your parents' email. So that's how it started. I consider myself very lucky. My parents are quite understanding, although having said that, I also went through quite a hard time with them, and I really want to share that experience with you, because if you are going through this experience and if you are having a hard time with your parents, please know that you're not alone. Everybody that goes through this, I think, has a moment, some moments where they feel quite at odds with their parents, and it's a tough time, and I want you to realize that you're not alone, and other people have gone through this, and there is support out there. So hopefully through my story, I can share a bit of my experience with you and alleviate any struggles or problems that you might be having. I'm 31 right now. I've probably had biodata sent to my parents since, for a good 10 years. And my parents got increasingly frustrated with the fact that I wasn't really clicking with them and with the people that I did agree to meet based off of those biodatas. I personally found that despite the fact that aunties send these biodatas to you based on the fact that they think that you're going to gel with the person really well, what a person sounds like on paper, or the fact that they've been vetted based on what their parents do, doesn't really have an effect on the fact that there's no physical attraction or he doesn't get your humor. And as a person who's grown up in Australia, that kind of thing is quite important to me. Rather than, or even, it doesn't matter where you grow up, I guess, the fact that somebody doesn't gel with you, the fact that you're not attracted to somebody, doesn't get wiped out by the fact that his parents are, or his uncle has a great big business in Bangladesh. That's irrelevant, I think, in my opinion, when it comes to looking for a potential partner. So going back to my story, I guess, I actually love making lists. So I ended up making a list. I realized that what aunties sent versus what my parents wanted and thought I needed versus what I wanted for myself were all quite different things. And to get everybody on the same page, well, at least to get my parents and myself on the same page and make sure that we weren't arguing about, random biodatas and causing emotional rifts between ourselves, I decided to make a list of the things that I would need, like, and want in my potential partner. And they were very obvious things, but some of them were obvious to me but not obvious to my parents, and I think it was really useful for me to have shared that with my parents. So, for example, in my need list was the fact that I wear a hijab, and I'm not going to take off my hijab for anybody. So if a potential groom came along and wanted me to take off the hijab, that's a biodata that I'm not even going to consider. In my want list, I wanted somebody who was funny. Now, obviously, when your parents are looking for potential grooms, they look for somebody who's educated, who's got a great job, who is well established. And humor might not be on the top of their lists, but I love laughing. And I love having a good time, laid back time with somebody. And if my husband doesn't have a great sense of humor, then that's not going to happen. And I'm going to lead a life that's at odds with the kind of personality that I have. So that was very important to me. And I think it was one of the things that my mum and I would disagreed on, and it was causing a few issues with her and I. And I think making that list and sharing it with her really brought home to her the fact that, you know, while she's looking at people's parents and what kind of educational background he has, which is important, I was also looking at the person's personality and who would laugh and grow with me, and that was important to me. So yeah, that list really helped me. So if you're going through this, I would highly advise that you take out a pen and paper and you make a list. And that list could be anything. This list doesn't have to be something that you share widely. It could be just for yourself. It could be for you and your parents. But it will really help clear up in your mind what it is that you want in a potential spouse. But the reason that you make this list is because what's in your want list might actually clash with what's in your need list. And when it comes to that, which it sometimes does, you need to make a choice between what is it that I need and what is it that I want. So yeah, I think that list really helped, and it meant that the next couple of biodatas that I talked through my parents with, actually we ended up having less fights, we ended up having less arguments, because that list helped us get on the same page about what it is that is something that I'm looking for and what is it that they're looking for, so that we could come to some common ground. So yeah, I actually made the list, saw a couple of people, and it didn't work out, and I was really over it. I was emotionally spent, because I don't know if people realize or not that even when you are looking at arranged marriage, it's actually quite emotionally stressful, because you obviously know that the person, whoever it is, the potential person, is looking at you as well. And you're trying to tick off this person, somewhat like buying a house. You go in, you have a first inspection, or, you know, whatever. I guess in the very beginning you see the person, but they don't, you know, a house that you see on the internet listed in allhomes.com is not necessarily going to be the same when you go to see it. So people do tend to take pictures that are flattering, or do tend to send information that is, you know, showing them in a positive light, which is not wrong. I guess people want to put their best foot forward, but when you do actually meet the person, or when you do go see their families, you get to see that, you know, the house that you saw on the internet was so well lit, and when you actually go visit it in person, it might not be that well lit. So keep that in mind. Don't hold grudges. People are putting their best foot forward, but you do need to see the person, and you do need to see their families before you make a decision. So I think it's really important, and if people are not allowing you or encouraging you to go and meet the potential spouse and spend some time with them, then you really need to push for that, because it's very, very important. And it's Islamically stated as well that both parties have equal rights when choosing their spouse, and physical attraction plays a very important part. You're going to spend the rest of your life with this person. You need to at least be able to stand them and be in the same room as them. So it's really important to meet them and talk to them and get to know them. So after a couple of failed attempts where I didn't really gel with the people that I was talking to, I decided that I was so emotionally over it. I didn't want to look at any more biodatas. I didn't want to consider any more people. I just wanted a break. And if this is how you feel at the time, please let your parents know and just take a break. You deserve it. It's very much of an emotional investment where you know that you're being looked at and scrutinized, and the other person knows that they're being looked at and scrutinized, and you're not really sure how much of your emotions you want to invest yet, which is stressful in itself. So if you need to take a break, tell your parents and take that break for yourself. And that's exactly what I did. I went to Fiji with my mum for a week. And when I was there, I was going through her iPad and having a look at her photo gallery, and I found a picture of this guy, and I was like, hang on, who's this guy? Who's this random person? I don't know him. How do you know him? And she said, oh, this is a guy whose biodata I got sent, but you said you didn't want to look at any, so I haven't shown it to you yet. I said, oh, okay, well, he looks nice enough. I guess we could look into him when we get back. So we came back to Sydney, and my mum went and told the ghotok, which is what we call the intermediary auntie in Bangla, that that I was interested. And so she let us know that the guy had actually gone to Bangladesh to visit his family. And I said, okay, well, that's cool. We'll just talk to him when he gets back. No problem. The next day, I find out that they, the guy's side has said that they want to see me because his family is all in Bangladesh and they all want to see me together. And I asked my mum, how exactly is that going to work? And she said, well, through Skype. We'll be on one end and he and his family will be on the other. And okay, sure, why not? Weirder stuff has happened. So that's what we did. I got on Skype and I had my dad sitting on one side and I had the ghotok uncle sitting on the other, and I looked at the Skype screen and there was this guy sitting there with his parents on either side and his siblings around him. And that was the first time that I saw my husband. And you know what? For a really weird and unusual start to a story, ours, alhamdulillah, has been going quite well. And so basically since then, he got my number from my mum, and we spoke on the phone and we WhatsApped till he came back to Australia, and then we met. And we met up quite a few times. And I know that there are people out there who have reservations of meeting their partner, and parents have reservations of letting the potential people meet. But you can always make arrangements. You can take your friends, you can take your sisters, you can meet in public spaces. There's ways to do it, but I highly encourage that you talk and you get to know each other and you get to see if you're compatible and if there's that attraction to each other before you proceed. And so that's what we did. We got to know each other, and my husband says that the first couple of times we talked, I pretty much interrogated him, because by that point, having made my list, I was pretty clear in my head what I wanted. Do you have a problem with my hijab? No. Do you drink? No. Do you smoke? No. Okay, well, they're my basics. That's all clear. We can keep talking. So if you have really strong ideas and opinions about what you want and they're non-compromisable, I suggest that you clear them out straight away, because if they're going to clash, then there's no point in continuing the conversation and getting emotionally invested. So that's what we did. We asked each other basically our needs and our wants, and we realized we were compatible. And then he told his parents, who told mine, and who asked me, and I accepted, and we got married. And we got married within a couple of months of meeting each other. Now, for some people, you might say that that's quite fast, and for my parents, that was too slow. But I think it's been scientifically proven that you can fall in love in 4 minutes. And I think that my husband and I, we fell into an educated love. It wasn't love at first sight, but it was love that grew based on a mutual respect for each other, based on what we found out about each other. So I think it's really important to get to know the person rather than just rocking up or looking at him at face value, or what other people say, like aunties, or what's on his biodata. I really encourage that you go out and speak to this person and find out about them. So that's really important. The other thing that I also really want to mention is communicate with your parents. I know that, especially as a girl, there's a lot of pressure on you, but there's also a lot of pressure on your parents. And parents, I really just want to say to you, take a chill pill. Seriously, take a chill pill. It's not fair that if you go and face embarrassment or snides and jibes from other people, that you come and unleash that displaced anger or frustration on your kid. It's not helpful to your relationship. So just make sure that you are being nice to each other. It's not nice to call your child names or to say things to them that will hurt them and that will affect them much, much longer, and much well after your anger has subsided and the argument has finished. So be careful. This is a really trying time for both of you, but try and be understanding of each other and communicate with each other. And if you need a break from this process of arranged marriage, take that break. I guess that's all I really wanted to say. I know that not all arranged marriages work out But I do believe that more arranged marriages work out and last better and longer than love marriages. And if you're lucky enough to be in a successful love marriage, good on you. But I really do want to thank the aunties out there who run such a successful cultural kind of coordination. That means that a lot of us can rely on being connected to people we wouldn't otherwise meet. It's really great. So yeah, if you have a story, an arranged marriage story, please leave it in the comments below and let me know what else you want me to rant about. Thank you. Bye.